Let's bring in Jeff Goodman, CBS Sports College basketball columnist. I know how your brackets are.
They're just okay. I mean, listen, I had Louisville beating Indiana in the title game, so as I think a lot of people did, but the Hoosiers just couldn't make a shot against that Syracuse zone last night.
Yeah, but was this more Syracuse? I mean, you know what you're facing with Jim Boeheim's team, and all you got to do is score a certain number of points there because Syracuse is not somebody. They're not the UNLV running Rebels of the '90s here. So I was just surprised that Indiana couldn't solve that, and you score 50 points.
Midget guards. That's what it was. I mean, it was Yogi Ferrell and Jordan Hulls trying to shoot over a lot of length for Syracuse in that zone. So, coaches always talk about matchups going into the tournament, and they're right. I mean, Indiana just faced a bad matchup in Syracuse and a team that honestly has been up and down all year, but they've kind of got a little bit of their mojo back, and Michael Carter-Williams played maybe his best game of the season just days after his house burnt down back in Massachusetts.
Well, he's one of those kids that once he figures it out, he can be a really good player. It's just he relies on that jump shot a little bit. But you saw him, he's good off the dribble and in transition. So they got some of those points. But here's Jim Boeheim. 2 weeks ago, we're talking about retirement and an NCAA investigation, Jeff.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy how this season went because, they got off to a great start. They were like 15-1. I remember seeing him at Providence, and he was telling me we're walking down the hallway together, and he's like, I don't think we're that good. Then they go through that stretch. They lose about 5-9, and everybody's killing him. And he's saying, well, let's not get carried away here, too. He was frustrated with his team, but he was like, we're better than this. So they've just kind of gone through so many highs and lows this year. But Michael Carter-Williams is the guy that's got to take him there to the Final Four. And he's had a lot on his shoulders. I mean, think about what they lost last year. 4 of their top 6. Deion Waiters, who was their tough guy that they give the ball to in crunch time. Now it's got to be Michael Carter-Williams leading a bunch of kind of mellow guys that don't have a lot of, outwardly fighting. And Brandon Trish, a great kid. C.J. Fair, all these kids are good kids, probably too nice.
The Marquette, I don't even know how to describe it because I looked up and all of a sudden I joined the game in progress and I went, oh, boy, Miami is getting killed?
Killed.
And then it never stopped. And here's Marquette that struggled to even get to the Sweet 16. It just, you have games, you have matchups that don't fit the styles, and you survive those. Why did this style against Miami benefit Marquette so much?
Well, I think Marquette just showed they were the tougher team. Miami, they've got some tough guys. Shane Larkin didn't look like himself. It came out after the game that he had been sick, and but Marquette did a great job. I mean, look at their guys, and you put them up in a line individually, and you're like, he's just okay. He's all right. He's never going to play in the NBA. He might not make money even playing this game beyond, when they get knocked out. But collectively, and that's kind of what I wrote about last night, collectively as a group, they fit their head coach, Buzz Williams, to a T. They're tough. People questioned them. They just go out and fight you. They don't look pretty doing it usually, although last night they made shots. They defended the ball screen extremely well with Shane Larkin. And I thought their bigs, Chris O'Toole and Devontae Gardner, did a great job rotating down low. So there was really nothing easy for Miami.
Arizona, Ohio State, I thought Arizona was the better team, but I thought Ohio State had the better game plan. They decided to stop shooting jump shots, taking it to the hoop. They don't have that consistent guy who's going to be able to hit those jumpers, but I thought they went to the hoop. And it changed a little bit of the complexion there. Why did Ohio State advance?
Well, the key for Ohio State has always been who's going to step up besides Deshaun Thomas on the offensive end. And Thad Matta has been telling me for 2 years, he's like, LaQuinton Ross might be our most talented player. And LaQuinton Ross just never got it. He missed the first half of last year's freshman year due to academics, and it was kind of too late. And then this year, I remember I did a mock draft the day after this past June, a year ago's mock draft happened. And I put LaQuinton Ross somewhere late in the first round, and everybody thought I was crazy. But this kid last night showed that potential. Again, is he there? No, because he hasn't quite put it together. But if he gets it mentally, and he made the big shot last night, Ohio State's a completely different team. Then Aaron Kraft can be what he should be, Dan, which is just a great leader, great defender, picks his spots offensively, but he's got weapons that he can utilize.
All right, let's look ahead to tonight. What's going to happen?
Well, I think Florida Gulf Coast dream ends, unfortunately, tonight. I think the Florida Gators get him and get him pretty good. If Florida Gulf Coast can get off to a good start again, maybe they have a shot. But I think Florida overwhelms them because, you know what? Now you're annoyed by these guys if you're playing them. You know, Georgetown didn't know anything about them. San Diego State, all right, it was one game and a quick turnaround. Florida's been hearing about this team in their state since, they beat Georgetown. So
well,
I think
probably the beginning of the year when Florida didn't want to scrimmage Florida Gulf Coast.
And Florida Gulf Coast beat Miami.
Yeah.
So you're probably right. They've been on the radar. They've played against these kids. They know them. They're probably annoyed by Brett Comer throwing these crazy lobs. And, they're a fun story, but not to the Gators. So I think Florida gets them there. That Kansas-Michigan game is going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Terrific game. I mean, Trey Burke hasn't played well in his first two games for the Wolverines. I think they get Kansas. But Mitch McGary, their freshman big guy for Michigan, has to come up big, has to stay out of foul trouble so he can go toe-to-toe, at least on the boards with Jeff Withey.
Michigan State against Duke. That sounds like a title game matchup.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Tom Izzo and Coach K in the Sweet 16. Who did this? I mean, it's great. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm going to be out at a bar somewhere watching this, loving it tonight. But you're right. I mean, it probably should have happened in Atlanta, not out there in the Midwest in Indianapolis. And then, Louisville plays Oregon. And I would think Louisville will get past Oregon. The Ducks have a couple of guards that, Jonathan Lloyd and Dominic Artis that have to play well, have to be able to handle the pressure. But I think Louisville's peaking at the right time. We all knew that, coming into the season. This team doesn't have many holes. But that Michigan State-Duke game, that's the one everybody, I think, other than to see what Florida Gulf Coast does, that's the one everybody wants to see tonight.
All right, where do we stand with UCLA and the job search to replace Ben Howland?
Well, of course. I mean, they went after Shaka. That didn't work. They went after Brad Stevens. That's not going to work either.
You don't think so?
No. I've said it. I mean, listen.
Wait,
those were the two top targets.
There was a report last night that they were in contract negotiations.
Yeah, that was erroneous. Is
that why the mothership took it down?
They took it down, Dan. They took it down. Come on, you got to stay on top of what the mothership does.
I was all set to apologize that I was wrong on. I said Brad Stevens and Shaka Smart are not going to UCLA. All of a sudden, Paulie sends me a note. Brad Stevens in talks with UCLA, and I went, damn.
Yeah, and I had to write about this. I mean, unbelievable that they do it right before the game.
I know.
I'm like trying to write on Brad Stevens being the top target for UCLA. The game's starting. I'm like, everybody and their mother knows Brad Stevens is the top target for UCLA. I have to write this now?
So he's not going there.
I listen, there might be a 1% chance, but everybody I talked to last night, and then he sent out a tweet a little while ago, and I'll read it to you in a second.
It was kind of cryptic, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was like basically, here it is. Love walking through Hinkle in the morning. Anxious to get started on our spring workouts next week. I mean, if that doesn't say, read between the lines, I'm staying at Butler. I think the holdup here for an extension is the fact that right now, Barry Collier, their AD, is trying to get everything together. They're going into a new league again.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to figure out all the financial issues and what they're going to make in this new league, what they can afford to give them, but they're going to empty the bank, give them whatever it takes to keep them there. And where does UCLA go now?
Yep.
I've said for a week I think they might end up having to go to like a Mike Brown just to win the. You don't want to focus on winning the press conference?
Wait. The Lakers fans hated his style with the Lakers. Now all of a sudden they're going to like it at UCLA.
I'm not saying it's the right pick. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I would do it if I were Dan Guerrero. I would go after Buzz Williams right now. I know he doesn't fit out there in L.A. He's at Texan with the draw and everything. But to me, Buzz Williams wins. They've gotten to 3 straight Sweet 16s this year, going to the Elite 8. And you know what? He can coach. He can recruit. He's from Texas, so he can pull some Texas kids. And as long as he hired the right staff, and they love him. I mean, like anybody you talk to loves Buzz Williams. Yeah. So to me, that's probably the guy I go after right now. And you know what? They'll look at probably Greg Marshall. My guess is Guerrero's out there watching him last night at Wichita State beat LaSalle.
Well, have fun tonight. Good to visit with you again. And congrats on the Chris Collins story that you broke.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, bud.
I'll talk to you soon.
Jeff Goodman from CBS Sports.